Today we're going to be discussing color value and what that means. So to begin, we're going to use black at its fully saturated state. So that means we're just going to use enough water to activate it. So the easiest way to make a value comparison is to make a chart for yourself using black. And what I'm doing is I'm using an eyedropper here, and I'm adding a drop of water at a time. And then I paint a little rectangle, as you'll see. And each time I do that, it fades. You'll see it progressively fading into a very, very pale black. In watercolor, we use water to lighten a value. We lighten a color, excuse me. We don't use white paint as in, say, if you were painting in acrylic or oil. Once you understand value, this will give you a lot of freedom of expression in your paintings, meaning like you can paint a human face using purples and greens, and it'll still look like a human face when you're finished. So here I'm going to go in with a blue, and once we do, I'm using 3 or 4 different colors coming up, and you're going to see the different value scale. So some colors are quite strong, so when you add that drop of water, it doesn't make a lot of difference, 1 drop at a time. But other colors, that 1 drop of water makes a huge difference, and it fades away rather quickly. So it's kind of fun for you as you're learning. If you have a palette like I do with these, I think there's 36 in here, you can do this with each color. It's kind of interesting. You get to see how much water to use, the consistency you like, and you'll see what you can get out of that color. Okay, so here you can see the black. I could have went on to a much fainter pale black. I just didn't have a large enough piece of paper. But you can see here that middle of the blue is towards the end of the black. So that black is really concentrated. That's a color that can be quite overpowering, as you know. And the blue, I think that's a nice range of shades that you can get. And this is an exact science. You know, I could have mixed something a little differently in one stir, so it's really good for you to try this out, let it all dry, and see what you come up with. But I do know that you can buy these in art stores, and you can buy a color wheel, you can buy like these value charts. I just think it's a great idea to do it by yourself, because you can see for yourself right away what's happening. So now this orange color, this has a really huge range, I think. It goes from quite concentrated, like it's full saturation, all the way to very, very, very pale. It's just like a stain, which is very handy when you're painting. Sometimes the color changes are very subtle, and that's what gives your painting the interest. So here, this is called Viridian Green, and you can see there the 1 drops. They're not making a huge change in the value. It's getting a tiny bit more watery, but it's still pretty strong. It's a very strong hue. At the end of this video, I'm going to have a list of the terminology that's often used in painting and art in the art world, and it'll be at the end of the video. So you could just pause the video, take a screenshot and save it to your phone or your tablet, whatever, and you can crop it, and then it'll be there right there for your convenience, you know. Now watch here, this blue. This blue fades out really quickly, which you'd say it's not a very saturated color. That's how people would describe this blue. So you see, I'm adding one drop at a time, just like all the other ones, and look how faded it is. It's basically just staining your paper at this point. So if I compare it to my black, I mean the black, the palest isn't even there. As I said, I didn't have a long enough sheet of paper. So if you turn your card around, you'll also be able to see that that dark blue and that yellow, even though they're both fully saturated, they do not have the same value. So I hope this clears a few things up for you. And here I'm just doing a flower in one color and adding water and using less water to change the values, to add definition and shape. So I'm adding darker pink in order to give this flower some definition, some shading, some shape. And the same with the leaves. I'm just using the same color in a darker value to give them some shading and shape. And suddenly things start to come alive. And then I chose just black to do this apple here. And this is to show you, as long as you know, you understand your values, you'll be able to paint anything in any color, and it will look like what you're trying to get it to look like. It'll look like whatever it is you took your picture of, or took it out of your head. Like this apple is out of my head. I don't have anything sitting in front of me, but I do know the general shape of an apple. And you can convey that with values. So you're going to see the apple that's in my head. So painting is just marvelous. I mean, after you get, sometimes it can be intimidating, all this the terminology, excuse me, but there's really no need. I've simplified it as much as I can for you in that list. So do go to the end of the video and check it out. I think it'll be really helpful for you. So here I'm just adding, I'm giving it some definition with all the different values of black, you know. And the light's coming from the upper right side, so there's more shadow on the bottom left. So excuse the shine here, but I'm gonna lift the pad. There you go. Now it's mostly dry. And so if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Happy watercoloring. Bye-bye.